So someone has a heart attack, goes on cholesterol-lowering medication to prevent a heart attack, they can actually be increasing the risk of heart attack. There is no research to show that Crestor and Lipitor prevent heart disease. Did you know that? There's even a book called The Human Cost of Lipitor. Let me tell you the side effects of Lipitor. Muscle wasting, interested? Dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss. And they've added another one to that now, breast cancer, because it's from cholesterol that all our hormones are made. In fact, if cholesterol levels go too low, that person's going to be vitamin D deficient, and there are 2,500 receptor sites on the DNA for vitamin D. Body can't function without vitamin D, and vitamin D is made from cholesterol. Sex and stress hormones can't be made properly if you don't have enough cholesterol. Too low cholesterol is just as dangerous as too high. I've had guests say to me, well, my husband's on Lipitor and his memory's gone. I don't know anyone who's interested in muscle loss, memory loss, or Alzheimer's or dementia. Are you?
Today, we will join Barbara O'Neill to explore the hidden factors in your diet that can seriously harm your heart health. In the fast-paced modern lifestyle, quick and convenient food choices often become the silent enemies of our bodies, increasing the risk of conditions like cardiovascular disease, obesity, and diabetes. In this video, Barbara O'Neill will share essential insights into how unhealthy foods negatively impact your heart and explain why they are harmful to your health. Most importantly, you'll be inspired by her practical suggestions for healthy alternatives, as well as useful tips to improve your daily diet, keeping your heart strong and healthy. As a special thank you for joining me today, we will be giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment about why you'd like to receive a copy of my bestseller.
Another no is not fat, but it's wheat. Why wheat? Well, when the hybridization process of making the wheat, the gluten or protein structure of wheat was changed. So originally, wheat was inkhorn. No, I don't think that I should be there. I think that I should be there. Inkhorn wheat, that was the original wheat. And it had a very fragile structure. And that fragile protein or gluten structure means very easy to be broken down. So easy to be broken down in the grind, in the cooking, in the chewing, in your digestive enzymes. And it is not sure when, but a few thousand years ago, there was a field hybrid with another wild grass that produced emmer wheat. And emmer wheat is not quite as fragile, but it is still fairly fragile. And it is the emmer wheat that went through the intensive crossbreeding. So the hybridized wheat that was hybridized in the 50s went worldwide in the 70s. So by the 1990s, in New Zealand, in Australia, in America, every pasta, every wheat, every cereal, every donut, cake, etc., is made of the hybridized wheat. And that structure of that hybridized wheat is incredibly complex. Very difficult for the gut to break down. And you look at the timeline, 1990s, well established, that's when all the gluten intolerance, gluten sensitivity, gluten intolerance to the point of celiac. Celiac can't even touch it. Gluten intolerant, really, they should only have it once in a blue moon. Gluten sensitive, they can probably have a slice of bread or wheat. So basically, gluten sensitive, gluten intolerant, and gluten intolerant to the point of celiac basically is just describing the intensity of the intolerance. Can you still buy the original? You can buy spelt and you can buy kamut. And spelt and kamut have the same structure of the emmer. So you can still buy that. You can still buy spelt and kamut. You can buy it as pasta, you can buy it as bread. Celiac, who are severe intolerance, often they can't even handle the spelt or the kamut. But often gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant can. Now, if that hybridized wheat was made into a sourdough bread, because of the culturing process, it breaks down the gluten structure to make it a little bit more fragile. And if spelt is made into sourdough bread, it can bring it back to that original structure of the Enkhorn wheat. Now, if someone eats wheat and they have an intolerance to it, do you know it can get that blood pressure up? So blood pressure can be caused by wheat. So how do you know what you are? I've got a challenge for you. Stop it for 2 months, see what happens.
Wheat is a staple food in many diets, but it may pose significant risk to our heart health. Modern wheat in particular has undergone substantial changes over the years due to hybridization and processing, leading to negative impacts that often go unnoticed. Consuming wheat, especially from refined sources like white bread, pasta, or pastries, can cause a rapid spike in blood sugar levels. This in turn contributes to chronic inflammation, a major factor in the development of heart disease. Studies also show that excessive consumption of refined wheat can promote weight gain, disrupt metabolism, increase bad cholesterol, LDL, and damage blood vessels. These are all serious issues that gradually weaken cardiovascular health. For individuals sensitive to or intolerant of gluten, reactions like bloating, fatigue, and inflammation can further strain the circulatory system, forcing the heart to work harder. However, not all types of wheat have the same negative effects. Ancient grains like spelt, emmer, or kamut, with their distinct gluten structure, are often less harmful and more body-friendly. Additionally, preparation methods such as fermentation in sourdough bread can reduce digestive strain, improve nutrient absorption, and lower inflammation-related risks to the heart. To protect a healthy heart, limiting the intake of modern wheat, especially refined wheat, can be a crucial step. Instead, you can turn to healthier, more natural alternatives that provide balanced nutrition while reducing the risk of severe health issues. And now let's explore another commonly used ingredient in many dishes.
Refined sugar is dangerous. It clogs up the arteries. It makes the blood very, very sticky. And you can get so many delicious sweeteners like honey and maple syrup and even the coconut sugars. There's no need to go to the refined sugar.
Refined sugar is not only a leading cause of weight gain, but also harbors significant risks to cardiovascular health. When consumed, refined sugar causes a rapid spike in blood sugar levels, forcing the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin to manage it. This constant strain on the pancreas can eventually lead to insulin resistance, a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes and a significant contributor to heart disease. When the body cannot use insulin effectively, uncontrolled blood sugar levels can lead to dangerous complications. Excess sugar not only disrupts metabolism, but also increases triglyceride levels, a type of fat in the blood that can narrow and harden arteries. This makes blood flow more difficult and heightens the risk of atherosclerosis, a precursor to severe cardiovascular events like heart attacks, heart failure, and strokes. In addition to raising triglycerides, a diet high in refined sugar can contribute to high blood pressure. While sugar doesn't directly raise blood pressure like salt does, it triggers chronic inflammation and metabolic imbalances. These effects increase pressure on blood vessel walls, forcing the heart to work harder to maintain blood circulation. Over time, this weakens heart function and raises the likelihood of heart diseases such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, and strokes. One often overlooked yet critical impact of refined sugar is its ability to promote chronic inflammation. This inflammation not only damages blood vessel walls, but also creates a favorable environment for the formation and growth of arterial plaques. As these plaques enlarge, they can block blood flow, potentially triggering sudden heart attacks or strokes. Furthermore, refined sugar is linked to the buildup of visceral fat, dangerous fat that surrounds vital organs and contributes to metabolic disorders and heart failure. While its negative cardiovascular effects are among the most serious threats, refined sugar also causes numerous other health problems. Overconsumption can disrupt gut microbiota balance, weakening the immune system and fostering the growth of harmful bacteria. This imbalance not only impacts digestion, but also raises the risk of other chronic illnesses. Mental health is not immune to the effects of refined sugar either. It can cause energy spikes and crashes, leading to fatigue, stress, and even anxiety or depression. This is particularly dangerous for those already at high risk for cardiovascular disease, as mental stress can exacerbate blood pressure and circulation issues. Refined sugar also damages oral health. When sugar interacts with bacteria in the mouth, it produces acid that erodes tooth enamel, leading to cavities and other dental problems. While not directly linked to cardiovascular health, poor oral hygiene has been shown to have an indirect connection to heart disease risk. To protect your cardiovascular health and overall well-being, reducing or eliminating refined sugar is a crucial step. Instead of consuming sugar-laden foods, opt for natural alternatives like fresh fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats. Fruits provide natural sugars along with fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar more effectively. Additionally, pay close attention to food labels on processed products, as added sugars often hide in sodas, sauces, and seemingly harmless snacks. Choose simple, natural preparation methods to better control your sugar intake. Next, we'll explore a familiar seasoning we use daily, salt.
In nature, we find the highest amount of sodium in seawater, and seawater contains 92 minerals. Of those 92 minerals, approximately 30% is sodium, and of those 92 minerals, approximately 50% is chloride. Now, because sodium chloride take up the most amount, they're the first crystals formed when the water is evaporated. So what man does is he scoops up the first crystals formed, he bleaches them white, puts aluminium with it so that it runs freely, and there's your table salt. Table salt is a dangerous salt because we now have two very harsh minerals that if you were to inject both of those into the blood, you would die. There's two harsh minerals and they need all the other 90 to soften them and balance them. The highest concentration of mineral inside the cell is potassium. The highest concentration outside the cell is sodium. And in this bilayered membrane that is around every cell, there are sodium-potassium pumps. And these sodium-potassium pumps are ever going like this, maintaining the balance between potassium and sodium. But when someone's not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get most of your potassium, and they're putting table salt on everything far too much, what happens now is sodium levels rise and potassium levels drop. There is a small amount of sodium in the cell, but when this happens, you see osmosis and diffusion happens when the highest concentration merges into the lowest. So now sodium levels inside the cell are rising, which they should not, and the cell swells. What's that called? High blood pressure. The doctor is right. Table salt will contribute to high blood pressure.
Table salt, or sodium chloride, is an essential component of our diet, but when consumed in excess, it can pose significant risks to cardiovascular health. While the body requires a certain amount of sodium to maintain normal functions, excessive intake can lead to harmful effects, particularly an increase in blood pressure, a leading factor in heart disease and strokes. When we consume too much salt, the body retains water to balance sodium levels, increasing blood volume. This puts additional pressure on blood vessel walls, resulting in high blood pressure. Over time, elevated blood pressure damages blood vessels, reducing their elasticity, making them stiffer and more prone to injury, and increasing the risk of atherosclerosis. This condition not only forces the heart to work harder to pump blood, but also paves the way for heart failure, heart attacks, and other coronary complications. A high-salt diet can also exacerbate other risk factors, such as high cholesterol and visceral fat, both of which contribute to heart disease. Additionally, excessive sodium intake has been linked to chronic inflammation in the body, further weakening the circulatory system. Salt's harm extends beyond the cardiovascular system, affecting other organs as well. The kidneys, responsible for filtering sodium from the blood, must work harder when sodium levels are elevated. Over time, this strain can impair kidney function, potentially leading to chronic kidney disease. This is particularly concerning for individuals with existing heart conditions, as the heart and kidneys are closely interconnected. When one weakens, the other is directly affected. Furthermore, a high sodium diet may impact bone health. Excess sodium increases calcium excretion through urine, which can result in bone density loss and a higher risk of osteoporosis, especially in older adults. Experts recommend limiting processed foods, major sources of hidden salt, and focusing on fresh, natural ingredients. Opt for alternatives like herbs and natural spices to enhance flavor without relying heavily on salt. By moderating daily salt intake, you not only protect your heart, but also reduce the risk of severe issues related to the kidneys, bones, and overall health. These small but meaningful changes can make a big difference. Your heart will thank you.
And there are two things that I would like to absolutely define for heart disease, and that is caffeine. Caffeine disrupts the neurotransmitters in the brain. Caffeine causes an insulin response. Caffeine actually causes a crisis response. So when someone is in a crisis, their blood pressure rises to cope with the crisis. That's what caffeine does. Tobacco also causes a crisis in the body. Tobacco also damages the arterial walls. Caffeine thickens the blood, causes dehydration, as does tobacco.
Tobacco and caffeine can both negatively affect cardiovascular health, albeit through different mechanisms and degrees of impact. First, tobacco, one of the leading preventable causes of death worldwide. Nicotine in tobacco stimulates the nervous system, increasing heart rate and blood pressure, forcing the heart to work harder than normal. This strain not only weakens the heart over time, but also significantly raises the risk of serious cardiovascular diseases. Smoking also damages the lining of blood vessels, paving the way for plaque buildup and atherosclerosis, a condition that narrows and hardens arteries. As a result, the risk of heart attack and stroke increases substantially. Additionally, carbon monoxide from cigarette smoke reduces oxygen levels in the blood, requiring the heart to pump harder to supply sufficient oxygen to the body. This overload quickly fatigues the heart and negatively impacts the function of other organs. The harmful effects of smoking extend beyond the cardiovascular system. Long-term smokers often have weakened immune systems, making them more susceptible to infections and chronic diseases. The health of the entire body, from the lungs to the brain, suffers severe consequences, reducing quality of life and life expectancy. As for caffeine, while generally considered safe in moderate amounts, overconsumption can lead to concerning issues. Excessive caffeine intake increases heart rate and blood pressure, causing palpitations or even arrhythmias. For individuals with pre-existing heart conditions, these effects can exacerbate their health problems. Caffeine also indirectly affects cardiovascular health through its impact on sleep. Consuming too much caffeine, especially in the afternoon or evening, can lead to insomnia or poor sleep quality. Since sleep is crucial for restoring and maintaining heart health, prolonged sleep disturbances increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Both tobacco and caffeine also influence lifestyle choices, compounding risk factors. Smokers often struggle to maintain a healthy diet or regular exercise routine, while caffeine dependence can lead to replacing water and healthier beverages with caffeinated drinks, resulting in dehydration and nutrient deficiencies. To preserve cardiovascular health, it is vital to limit or eliminate tobacco use and consume caffeine in moderation. Your heart is the central engine of your body, and the wise choices you make today can lead to a healthier future. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content on health and wellness. Taking care of your heart is the best way to show self-love. See you in the next video.